Danger Dolan. From weapons created from bad logic to random objects magically turned into a weapon for some reason, we count 15 of the dumbest video game weapons.
Number 15.
Knives are about as basic of a weapon as you can get, but in some video games, namely Call of Duty, they are magical weapons of amazing destruction when you go close enough to the backs of your enemy. When you think about it for more than 1 second, you realize just how ridiculous they are in video games. I'm pretty sure a gun is more effective at killing someone, especially when you're close to your target. But for some reason, they do way more damage than a shot to the heart when you cut someone from behind. I mean, I get it from a gameplay perspective, but it's still pretty dumb.
Number 14.
Fat Man from Fallout 3. No matter how you think of it, using a nuke in close proximity to yourself is simply not a good idea. Even if the wasteland is already full of radiation, it's not smart to subject yourself to more than necessary. Of course, it's video game logic, and the size of the Fat Man explosion is vastly smaller than any nuke we've ever made, or even any that we believe to be physically possible unless you use incredibly difficult to make elements like californium and shoot it much further away. On the other hand, who gives a toss? A handheld rocket launcher that shoots mini nukes is awesome as all buggery, and it's sure as hell fun to use.
Number 13.
Logarius' wheel from Bloodborne. This is a wheel that you use to kill things. Not any of those fancy wheels made for asphalt, no. It's a good old fashioned wagon wheel that you take and push blood zombie heads in. No, it doesn't make a lick of sense to use this over a gun or even the giant mallet, because really, it's just made of wood with a bit of steel to reinforce it. The only real explanation for using this as a weapon is, it's magic! I ain't gotta explain dick.
Number 12.
The gun blade from Final Fantasy VIII. There's 2 types of gun blades in Final Fantasy, but we're focusing on the one introduced in number 8. It's designed to shoot the blade with gunpowder to make it vibrate in order to cut things better. And I hope I don't need to tell you why that doesn't work in the real world. It doesn't even deserve the rule of Kool logic, since it doesn't make any sense unless you didn't pass science in high school. Don't get why they didn't just make it magic, so at least some suspension of disbelief could be involved.
Number 11.
The clock shot from Gears of War. Now this is how you look at logic with your brown eye and shit all over everything it stands for. If you're gonna be ridiculous, go all out, no holds barred, and just be as stupid as possible in order to get a laugh. The clock shot is a grenade launcher that fires live chickens that explode because the game says so. And it's not in the game unless you go through a series of convoluted steps, much like Mr. Toots from Red Faction.
Number 10.
The sheep from Worms. If you think of worms, chances are the exploding sheep pops into your mind, along with the holy hand grenade and the banana bomb. But the sheep is clearly the winner of the dumbest weapon in the game, but like the clock shot, it's so dumb that it loops back to being awesome. Plus it's not that far-fetched to use a sheep as a kamikaze weapon. The only problem with the sheep is the fact that it's a right pain in the bollocks to use, although it makes up for the unwieldiness with its high damage. However, if you're anything like me, that damage will probably end up blowing up the worm that used it.
Number 9.
The Pizza Cutter from Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. Funnily enough, Pizza Cutter isn't the official name of this incredibly dumb weapon. It's apparently called the Judge Sword. I'm guessing the name comes from the fact that everyone is openly judging the person that designed it, and by judging I mean pointing, laughing, possibly throwing rotten tomatoes or worse. Just look at it. It's made of glass, stupidly oversized, has a pointless chain, doesn't look like it'd cut down a sapling unless you count the sheer weight crushing the wood to a point where it snaps as cutting.
Number 8.
Corbo's shoe in Super Mario Bros. 3. Mario has 1 innate power, he jumps, and when he lands his jump on top of a monster, it kills them. So why did Nintendo think a giant wind-up boot would be a good idea? Sure, the novelty factor is entertaining and it's only in 1 level, but it's still stupid. Why not give Mario an ability he doesn't already have? Did they run out of ideas so easily that they thought a giant shoe would be a logical progression of Mario's abilities?
Number 7.
Keyblade, the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Not to be confused with a Keyblade, the Keyblade is actually a super awesome weapon that's totally not a Keyblade. Oh no. I mean, sure, it looks like 2 Keyblades stuck together with a bunch of random crap coming out of it, but the reality is it's much more special, Where keyblades are man-made, the keyblade is the mystical object that summons the kingdom here. Oh, would you look at that? I stopped caring because it looks like what a 10-year-old would think of as a cooler version of the keyblade. The term special snowflake couldn't be more appropriate, with the green crap looking curiously similar to a snowflake.
Number 6.
The elemental staff in Dead Rising 3. Back to so ridiculous that it's actually likable with the traffic light, where each different color of light represents a different element that the weapon shoots out, with blue replacing green as ice, yellow being electricity, and red being fire. What else is there to say other than it's a great idea for a tongue-in-cheek weapon to kill hordes of zombies with?
Number 5.
The fish weapon. I don't know how many RPGs I've seen fish being used as weapons. Certainly not restricted to Eastern video games, as WoW has multiple fish weapons. I guess dumb doesn't really describe it, as well as odd. I can understand it appearing once, but with the amount of appearances fish weapons have made, it's like a meme that many RPG developers enjoy participating in. Then again, maybe people just enjoy smacking enemies around with a giant floppy fish, and I've been left out of all the fun due to misunderstanding and confusion.
Number 4.
The Penetrator from Saints Row the Third. Could have gone for the whoop whoop gun, but somehow fighting enemies with a preposterously giant sex toy seems dumber to me. The size of it means that it's either created to help pleasure elephants, or specifically designed to thwap people in the head with. I guess that it's the wacky theme the Saints Row games are going for, but call me crazy, but it just doesn't seem funny when it's just a purple baseball bat in the shape of a penis.
Number 3.
The cow launcher from South Park. You shoot exploding cows at people, except the cows don't explode if you hit the person. Instead, the person's head would go right up its anus, and if you play it in multiplayer, you get to see all the glory of the cow's digestive system, specifically the colon. I don't know if it's funny as much as it is obscene in a way that makes you laugh because you can't think of any other reaction. But hey, at least it does a lot of damage to the bosses.
Number 2.
The hand cannon from Dead Space 2. Not your typical overpowered revolver that shoots artillery shells. Instead, it's a foam finger that shoots invisible bullets at the enemies. Those invisible bullets also tend to make your enemies explode. Disappointing the sound effects when Isaac's saying pew 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 or pow pow pow, like the item description would have you believe. Still, it's a nice reward to receive for finishing the game on hardcore mode. It's especially nice that they didn't put it up as DLC.
Number 1.
The keyboard from Typing of the Dead. Easily the dumbest weapon out of all gaming. Magical keyboards that shoot zombies when you quickly type a random set of words that the weapon arbitrarily requires you to type. I love this weapon. Yes, it's dumb. Yes, it lacks logic. But the humor and utter self-awareness of the game demands something as ridiculous as this. I mean, even the concept of the game is dumb and great. Who doesn't love the idea of typing zombies to death? Well, me actually, but it's still a funny concept that was made great by this stupid but lovable weapon. That's it for this countdown, and have a good one!